He thought she was just a nanny until the incredible truth revealed himself in 30 days. Jake Harrison rubbed his tired eyes, the smell of grease and old tires wafting through the open window of his small bike repair shop. He watched Mia and Noah, their laughter spilling out into the world as they played in the dusty front yard. For months now, every day felt like a balancing act, juggling the demands of his business and raising 2 young kids alone. It was a struggle, but he was determined to make it work. Until, one day, he realized he needed help. Enter Emily. She arrived with a quiet confidence that instantly drew the kids in. "Can we ride bikes?" Mia asked, eyes sparkling with excitement. Jake watched, his heart heavy yet hopeful as the tranquility that had evaded his home began to seep back in. It was as if an invisible thread connected Emily and his children. Her laughter, warm and inviting, drifted around them like a hug. Day by day, their house transformed. However, whispers started trailing behind Emily. The neighborhood folks exchanged glances at the school fair, judging Jake for hiring a decorated veteran with a mysterious past to look after his children. "What's her story?" they asked in hushed tones. Jake's gut twisted at their unkind assumptions. Could he trust Emily? Was she simply a band-aid on his wounds, or was there something more profound at play? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as Emily settled into their chaos, Jake's shop faced a storm. A delivery truck backed into his repair stand, shattering his dreams in an instant. Bills piled high, the thought of losing everything was suffocating. He paced late into the night, his heart racing as he stared blankly at the walls that had witnessed better days. The children deserved security, a stable future, yet here he was, inching closer to a decision he dreaded. Through that chaos, Emily had become a lifeline. She carried them through thick and thin. Her ability to whittle down life's dilemmas into teachable moments for Mia and Noah was almost magical. At the 4th of July celebration, the air was filled with the scent of popcorn and smiles, but Jake felt the weight of others' eyes pressing down. The freedom and joy shimmering in his children's faces clashed with his growing suspicions. Should he keep someone he barely knew, with her unknown struggles, just to maintain this fragile happiness? The night lit up with fireworks, and Jake stood at the crossroads, the choice clawing at him: cling to the security of his reputation or embrace this strange, newfound family. As explosions of color decorated the sky, he felt his chest tighten, wrestling between what was right and the fear of judgment. Would knowing Emily's truths help them both through this dark time? What waited to be unveiled beneath her courage? As splashes of light danced above him, his heart raced. Could he let go of the need for approval and find strength in connection? It was a question he was desperate to answer. Jake didn't sleep that night. Every time he closed his eyes, colorfully wrapped memories of Mia and Noah playing with Emily flooded his mind. Their laughter echoed in the dark, a sweet reminder of innocence and joy amidst the chaos of his life. He clenched his fists, feeling the weight of uncertainty in his chest. What was he doing? Could a stranger really help him piece together the fragments of his broken world? The morning sun seeped through the thin curtains, casting golden stripes across the worn carpet. When he finally stumbled out of bed, he found Emily preparing breakfast. The smell of fresh pancakes filled the air, a stark contrast to the dampness of his thoughts. "Morning, Jake," she chirped, flipping a pancake with ease. "I hope you and the kids are hungry." Mia bounded down the stairs, her bright energy illuminating the room. "Can we have strawberries on ours?" she asked, bouncing on her toes. "Of course." Emily winked at her, and Jake felt something shift within him. There was a softness to her that he had yet to fully acknowledge. As he watched her interact with the kids, a sliver of doubt crept in. Did he really know anything about her? A sudden urge to protect them surged through him. "I need to talk to you," he said, his voice steady. The laughter in the room faded, replaced with a thick silence. Emily turned, sensing the gravity of his tone. "Okay," she replied softly, concern etched on her face. He sat at the kitchen table, Mia and Noah straddling chairs, anticipation sparking between them. "It's just I don't want to put the kids in a situation that could end badly. You've been amazing, really, but how can I trust that you won't disappear? Or worse?" Emily's eyes locked onto his, and he saw a flicker of something, a glimmer of pain beneath her calm. "Jake, I promise you I'm here for them. For you. I know I'm an unknown, and I understand your worries. But I wouldn't choose to be here if I didn't care." Her earnestness pierced through his defenses. He found himself leaning in, as if she could bridge the chasm he had built around his heart. "No one else ever cared this way before. I don't want to let that go," he admitted, his voice barely above a whisper. "I get that. I do. But I have my reasons for being here too," she hesitated. "I just need you to trust me a little longer." Something in her deep brown eyes pulled him in. There was a strength there, masked by the fragility of her admission. "Maybe we could start over? Just as two people trying to figure this out together?" Jake nodded. The leap of faith felt incomprehensible, yet necessary. Before they could delve deeper, Noah's small voice squeaked, breaking the tension. "Can we eat now?" The moment melted away, and Jake chuckled, shaking his head. The burdens lifted for just a second, the spark of connection blossoming hesitantly between him and Emily. As the three of them settled into breakfast, laughter gradually returned. Jake realized that perhaps he had misjudged this situation, maybe this was an opportunity rather than a risk. But deep within, the nagging worry of the unknown lingered. Though their morning was filled with brightness, shadows still loomed. He couldn't ignore the threads of her past just yet. "Emily," he started, but as he looked at her, he hesitated. What if she wasn't ready to share the truth? Could their budding friendship withstand the weight of her secrets? As the day unfolded, so did a comforting routine, but Jake couldn't shake off the feeling that the real journey had only just begun. What past had she been running from? And when would it catch up with them? The day stretched on, an endless dance of moments. After breakfast, Jake joined Emily and the kids outside. The yard was alive with colorful flowers, a testament to life blossoming in unexpected places. Mia chased after a butterfly, her laughter ringing through the air like music, while Noah tried to catch up, his little feet stumbling over the uneven grass. With each giggle, the weight on Jake's shoulders seemed to lift, if only for a moment. Emily kept a watchful eye on the children, her smile warm and inviting. He noticed the way her hair glimmered in the sunlight, creating a halo effect that added to her charm. A warmth spread in his chest, reminding him that they were all alive, sharing this small precious moment. "Jake." Emily's voice broke through his thoughts. "Want to help me plant some flowers with the kids?" He nodded, a bit hesitant. Gardening wasn't his forte, but he found himself wanting to bond with her. They gathered some seeds and tools, and soon enough, the four of them were digging, laughing, and getting dirt under their nails. While Noah was too young to understand the concept of patience, Mia carefully placed the seeds into the little holes they had made. Jake admired how she focused so intently, her tongue poking out in concentration. He turned to Emily, sharing a smile that felt electric. "Look at her," he said softly, his admiration unmistakable. "I didn't realize how captivating she could be." Emily's eyes sparkled. "She has something special, like her mother." Jake straightened, a heat rising to his cheeks. "Her mother?" he echoed, and the moment faded as curiosity took hold. "Yes," Emily continued, a light breeze ruffling her hair. She has a spirit that shines. I see so much of you in her. The compliment stirred something deep within him, a flicker of pride beneath the uncertainty he had wrestled with all morning. But the concern still remained, a whisper warning him of the fragile bonds he was weaving. As they finished planting, the sun began to dip low in the sky. Ella, their next-door neighbor, waved from across the yard, beckoning them over. Jake watched as Emily waved back, a glow of happiness radiating off her. Looking at her with other people made something shift inside him. Are you coming? Emily asked, glancing back at him, eyes bright with excitement. He pressed his lips together, fighting the urge to pull back. Maybe later, he said, his voice suddenly distant. As the adults exchanged pleasantries, Jake pulled away just a step. He wanted to protect his kids from whatever storm he felt brewing beneath the surface. He dared not let his guard down completely. But as he stood, hoisting his hesitation with him, he watched Emily's laughter rise above the chatter. Noah, sensing his father's tension, tugged at Jake's arm. Dad, let us go. Okay, buddy, Jake said, kneeling beside him, forcing a smile. As they headed toward the neighbor's yard, Jake felt a swell of nausea. What would it mean to open up to Emily fully? To let her see all the scratched remains of his heart? It felt like a game he wasn't ready to play. The evening stretched on, filled with laughter and mingling, but Jake couldn't shake the discontent brewing inside him. He observed Emily as she connected with the other adults, engaging effortlessly. There was a world he didn't know, and he was both drawn to it and terrified of it. Later that night, after the kids had gone to bed, he slipped quietly into the living room, the weight of the conversation from earlier pressing against his mind. He found Emily tidying up, her back turned. Do you ever think about telling me everything? He asked quietly, his heart racing. She froze for a moment before slowly turning, surprise in her eyes. Jake, she started, but he could see the conflict swirling behind her gaze. Could he be the steady ground she needed? Or was there a storm in her past that would wash away everything he hoped to build? In that moment, he realized that their journey was teetering on the edge of a revelation. And he couldn't shake the feeling that it was going to change everything. What did she have to hide? And could he handle the truth when it came crashing down? Jake's heart pounded in his chest. Emily's gaze was piercing, and for a moment, he felt as though she could see into the depths of his soul. He waited, holding his breath, trying to understand the swirling emotions that played across her face. Jake, it's not that simple, she finally said, her voice barely above a whisper. The tension hung between them like a fragile thread ready to snap. Why not? He pressed, his voice rising without his permission. The last thing he wanted was to push her away, but the desperation clawed at him. If we're going to be around each other, if we're building something here, then shouldn't we share everything? Her shoulders slumped, and she sighed like she carried the weight of the world. Sometimes, the past is too heavy to unpack. He stepped closer, sensing his own vulnerability rising to meet hers. You can't hide from it forever, Emily. I'm not looking for perfect. Just honesty. The silence enveloped them. He could see her lips tremble slightly. I lost someone, she blurted out. Tears shimmered in her eyes, reflecting the dim light of the room. And it shattered me. I thought I was done being broken, that I could pick myself up. But every time I feel something real, I get scared. I don't want to do this alone again. Jake's heart softened at her admission. This was not just about him needing to know her but also about reaching for healing. You don't have to face any of this alone, Emily. I'm here. We can take it one step at a time. Nobody does this with me. It's always been my burden to carry, she said, blinking back tears. The vulnerability in her voice tugged at him. It doesn't have to be. You just have to let me in. Let us in. As he spoke, he felt the urge to take another step closer, to pull her into a comforting embrace, but he held back. He didn't want to overwhelm her again. Suddenly, the sounds of the children's laughter carried faintly from down the hall, a reminder of what they were both trying to navigate. Jake forced a smile, trying to lighten the moment. You know, Mia thinks you're the coolest. You're her superhero. Emily chuckled softly, the seriousness of the moment lifting just slightly. I doubt that. You'd be surprised. Kids see things differently. They don't judge like we do. True, she admitted, her lips curling into a small smile. The world is a puzzle to them, and they just want to fit the pieces where they belong. Just like us, Jake replied, his eyes locking onto hers, the flicker of understanding sparking between them. He longed to close the gap, to wrap her in a world that felt both safe and free. But the shadows lingered in the depths of her gaze. What if I stumble? What if my past catches up to me? She asked, fear flickering across her features. Then we'll face it together, he assured her, taking a breath. Whatever it is, we can weather the storm. You and me. Emily looked at him, digesting his words, vulnerability edged with a hint of hope. Promise? I promise, he replied earnestly. With a tentative smile, Emily nodded, yet he could see the storm still brewing in her eyes. Jake walked toward the kitchen, hoping to shift the heavy atmosphere. How about we make some tea? It's the least I can do after digging in the dirt all afternoon. As she followed him, their hearts still uncertain but a little lighter, he felt a surge of strength between them and wondered if this new partnership could fortify their past. Maybe together, they could find a way to heal. But just as he reached for the kettle, a sharp knock echoed from the front door, jolting them both. Jake's stomach dropped. What now? Who could that be? Emily asked, a hint of panic in her eyes. No idea. Jake stood frozen, the peaceful evening crumbling. Should we check? But as he moved toward the door, it swung open to reveal a figure he never expected. A face from her past. Something inside him whispered that the storm was only beginning. How would this change everything? Jake's heart raced as his eyes fell on the figure in the doorway. It was Derek, Emily's ex-husband. The man looked different from the memories Jake conjured, but the tension in his posture was unmistakable. Emily, Derek said, his voice steady, but there was an edge of urgency under the calm. Emily's breath hitched, her eyes widening. She seemed frozen, caught between the whirlwind of emotions that swept back in the instant her past knocked on the door. Derek, she managed, the tremor in her voice betraying her. What are you doing here? I came to talk. We need to sort things out, he insisted, stepping inside as if he had a right to be there. The door swung shut behind him with a soft thud, sealing Jake's instinctive need to protect Emily. The air crackled with unspoken words, heavy with the weight of their shared history. Jake stood as a silent barrier, fists clenched at his sides, unsure of how he fit into this new layer of the unfolding drama. Now? Emily asked, disbelief coloring her tone. You just show up after everything? I thought we were done. We can't just leave things as they are, Derek pressed, ignoring the discontent in Emily's expression. Then his gaze shifted to Jake, sizing him up. And who's this? Jake felt defensive. I'm Jake, he said, stepping forward. And you're interrupting. Doesn't matter who you are, Derek replied, waving a dismissive hand. This is between Emily and me. Emily's face tightened. No, it's not just between us anymore. I've moved on, Derek. You can't just waltz back in here and expect me to drop everything. Drop what? Your head in the clouds with him? Derek shot back, bitterness creeping into his voice. You think he can give you what you need? You're not the only one who has changed. Jake could feel the room closing in around them. Emily was trembling now. The fear and uncertainty were back, swirling around their moment of connection. The promises they had made to face things together felt fragile once more. "Let us not do this here," Emily pleaded. "We can talk about it without escalating things." "Escalating? You think I'm the problem?" Derek laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You don't get to decide that." He turned back to Jake, his demeanor shifting. "You think you know her? She's not the person you think she is." Before Jake could respond, Emily stepped in front of him. She was searching Derek's eyes, looking for something answers. Closure? The fight was evident in her stance. "This isn't who I want to be anymore. I don't want to carry the weight of our past any longer." "Then why did you keep the ring?" Derek's voice rose, the accusation slicing through the air like a knife. Jake's heart sank. He glanced at Emily, who looked like she was about to shatter, and everything inside him screamed to protect her. "You don't have to justify anything right now," he said, his voice firm. "You've moved forward, and no one should drag you back. Not now." Emily's gaze flickered from her ex-husband to Jake, gratitude and fear mingling in her eyes. "I thought we were stronger together," she whispered. "We are," Jake assured her softly, though doubt crept in. But would Derek disrupt whatever fragile bond they were building? Just then, Derek leaned in, his look darkening. "You think this is over, Emily? You should know I'll fight for what's mine." As the words hung in the air, Jake's instincts kicked in. He felt a rush of protectiveness surge through him, mixed with the dread of the chaos that was just beginning. How could they ever build a future when the past clawed so violently at their heels? Emily's breath came fast, her face pale. The questions raced in Jake's mind. Had they truly been ready to face their past together? As the tension reached a breaking point, the door swung slightly ajar again, a new voice calling out. "Dad! Where are you?" Jake's chest tightened. This was just the beginning, and already, chaos had returned. What impact would this unexpected return have on Emily's healing? Would they find their way back to each other, or would the weight of the past pull them apart once again? The question echoed in Jake's mind as the door swung wide, revealing a teenage boy with tousled hair and wide, curious eyes. "Dad?" The boy repeated, uncertainty etched on his face, glancing between Derek and Emily, who stood like a fragile statue, caught between two worlds. Derek turned sharply, irritation flaring in his eyes. "You shouldn't be here, Caleb. This is grown-up business." "Yeah, but you didn't answer my texts," Caleb said, voice steady despite the tension in the room. He walked closer, his eyes darting to Emily and then back to his dad. "What is going on?" "Just a little family discussion," Derek said, attempting to smooth over the situation. But the bitterness seeped through, and Caleb frowned at his father, sensing something deeper. "Family? Like, the family where you left Mom?" Caleb's tone was filled with skepticism. He crossed his arms, refusing to step aside for the emotional storm brewing around him. "Caleb, I just need you to need me to what? Stand aside while you drag Mom back into your mess." The boy's voice rose, an echo of defiance against the very man whose authority he should typically respect. Jake could feel the change in atmosphere, the rising courage of a son protective of his mother. Emily stepped forward, her hand resting gently on Caleb's arm. "Caleb, please hear me out." Her attempt was both calming and vulnerable, making Jake's heart race with a mix of admiration and concern. "Your father and we were just talking about the past. It doesn't have to drown us." "It sounds like it is drowning you," Caleb shot back, eyes blazing but with a sudden softness as he looked at her. Derek's frustration mounted. "You don't understand, Caleb. This is complicated. I'm just trying to sort things out with your mother." His voice was strained, yet Jake detected an undercurrent of fear of losing not just Emily, but also the connection to their child. Jake took a step forward, ready to insert himself into the fray. "This isn't just about you, Derek. Emily deserves a chance to move on without looking over her shoulder. And who the hell are you to decide what she needs? Derek spat, eyes narrowing. I'm someone who cares about her and she deserves better than living in the shadow of her past. Jake felt heat rising in his chest, emotion spilling over. He couldn't back down now, not when he sensed the stakes were so high. Emily looked at Jake, her expression torn. I can't be the reason for more conflict. I just want to put the past to rest, for all of us. Don't you get it? Derek's voice trembled, desperation creeping into his tone. This is my son. I want to just stand by and let someone else define our family. Caleb spoke up again, his voice steadier now. Dad, this is not the family you think you can just summon whenever you want. You chose to leave it. You can't act like you're here to fix things when you left us broken. Derek's face showed a flicker of pain, but he quickly masked it with anger, a protective shield against feelings that seemed poised to crack open in front of the very people he should love most. Jake felt his heart tie itself in knots. Conflict churned in the room like an unexpected storm. What would solve this chaos? Was there a way for them to come together, or was this just a precursor to even deeper wounds surfacing? Emily's eyes glistened as she looked back at Caleb, her voice softening. We can figure this out, just let us breathe. Breathe? Derek shot back, frustration tearing at his composure. The situation was spiraling, and it was clear they were all standing on a precipice. With unresolved emotions swirling around them, the door opened again. This time a woman stepped in. Jake could tell from the way she held herself that she was firm, probably not someone to be trifled with. Derek, we need to go. All eyes turned toward the newcomer, whose presence brought with it a new undercurrent of tension. Jake's mind raced. What now? What implications could this new arrival hold for Emily's fragile healing? As silence thickened and the uncertainty hung in the air, Jake realized they were far from finding answers. In fact, it seemed the real battle was just beginning. The woman stepped further into the room, her confidence a stark contrast to the chaos that surrounded them. Her eyes were sharp and unwavering as they flicked between Derek, Emily, and the simmering tension that had taken over. I don't have time for this, she said bluntly, crossing her arms. We agreed to meet at the office. Your problems aren't my problems, Derek. Caleb shifted uncomfortably, glancing between his father and this unexpected visitor. Who are you? His voice still carried the sharpness of concern, demanding clarity in the muddled confusion. Lila, she replied, her tone clipped. I'm here to help your dad with some business matters. And this, she gestured around the room, is not helping at all. Derek's expression darkened. Lila, now's not the time, he snapped, clearly not eager to let her airbrush the mess he had created. Jake took a deep breath, trying to focus on the boy and Emily rather than the storm of adult tensions swirling wildly. Caleb, do you want to step outside for a second? He asked, wishing to create a bubble of safety away from the stifling atmosphere. Caleb hesitated, but his mother's nod of approval pushed him to agree. Yeah, okay. As the two of them stepped out into the dim hallway, the air instantly felt lighter. Caleb leaned against the wall, crossing his arms again, still harboring his earlier defiance. Why does he have to come back like this? It makes no sense. Jake offered a gentle smile, wanting to reassure him. Parents are complicated. Sometimes, they think they can just walk back in like nothing happened. I don't want him to just fix things. I want him to understand what he put us through, Caleb replied, voice trembling slightly. It's not fair. Jake nodded, sensing the hurt beneath Caleb's resolute exterior. You're right. It's not fair. But it matters how you handle it now. You have your voice, and you deserve to be heard. Caleb's brown eyes looked deep into Jake's, searching for understanding. But what if he doesn't listen? What if he just keeps making things worse? Then you keep standing up for yourself. It's okay to fight for what's right. Jake's words felt like a lifeline in the murky waters of their situation. The door to the room swung shut, muffling the heated voices inside. For a moment, the world outside felt peaceful amid the chaos. As Caleb finally exhaled, Jake felt a warmth spread in his chest. He realized it wasn't just about fighting against the darkness, it was about finding the light within themselves. Just then, the door creaked open slightly, revealing Derek's angry, harsh expression. "What are you two talking about?" Caleb tensed. "Just making sense of things," Caleb replied, eyes still trained on Derek. "Enough of this." Derek's voice rose again. "I need your help, Caleb. If you can stop defending your mother for a second, we need to talk about what this means for our family and for you." Jake felt the heaviness of the confrontation looming again, like a storm gathering after a brief moment of calm. He stepped forward, feeling the need to assert himself again, to protect Caleb and Emily from the rising waves. But they were not ready for what Derek had to say next. What if it meant more than any of them could bear? As silence clung to that moment, Jake could feel his heart pound against his ribs. What new turmoil lay hidden beneath Derek's urgent words? Was it hope, or would it drag them further into despair? Caleb turned slowly to face his father, determination etched across his face. "Tell me the truth." In that moment, the air thickened around them, and Jake knew that the real discussions were just beginning, ones that would force them all to confront what loyalty, love, and broken trust truly meant. Derek hesitated, his gaze darting between Caleb's fierce resolve and the gaping silence of the hallway. It was almost as if the weight of his own past choices pressed down on him, urging him to speak, yet the words felt stuck in his throat. "What do you want me to say?" Derek finally admitted, his voice low and shaky. "That I messed up? That I wish I could rewind? You think I don't know that? You think I don't live with the guilt every single day?" Caleb clenched his fists, anger bubbling just beneath the surface. "You don't get to play the guilt card now. You left. You caused all this." Jake stepped up, sensing a shift in the emotional tide. "Caleb, let him explain," he urged gently, trying to balance the scales of confrontation and understanding. Derek breathed out hard, his shoulders sagging as if lifting a burden. I've been trying to fix things, but I didn't know how. I thought I could just come back and everything would be okay. I thought you'd forgive me for not being there." "Forgive you?" Caleb scoffed, pain lacing through his voice. "You think it's that simple? You don't just get to walk back in and expect us to act like nothing happened. Nothing is fixed." The hallway was silent now, the only sound was the faint hum of the outside world, oblivious to the storm brewing inside. Emily, who had been standing just out of sight, peeked around the corner. She looked worried, sensing the tension, as always wanting to keep the peace. "Can we just talk?" she urged softly. Lila, watching from inside the room, crossed her arms tightly in reaction. "This is messy, Derek. We need clarity, not shouting. Caleb's right, he's been through a lot. And we can't keep pretending we're in some fairy tale." The mention of fairy tales felt like a low blow to Caleb, reminders of the beautiful illusions he once carried in his heart. "I'm sick of pretending," he murmured, his courage waning just slightly. "Life isn't a fairy tale, kid," Derek snapped, then immediately softened, regretting his tone. "I didn't mean that. I just want you to open your eyes. I made mistakes, but I'm here now to do what, exactly?" Caleb stepped forward, challenging Derek. "To explain away your absence? Hoping I should just forget everything, like it's all dust under the rug?" Jake felt the moment becoming volatile, almost choking on the tension. "Derek, tell him what you're really here for," he warned, a note of urgency creeping into his voice. Derek took a deep breath, straightening his spine. "I need your help to fix things, not just between us, but with everything that's going on in my life. I owe you that honesty." Lila and we've been working on something important, and I can't do it alone. Caleb's expression shifted, confusion intermingling with curiosity. What are you talking about? Before Derek could answer, Lila interjected sharply, this isn't the time for half-truths. Just say it, Derek. You're being investigated, it's serious. Shock visible on Caleb's face, Jake fought to hide his own surprise. The words hung in the air, cutting through the friction like a knife. Toward the end of the hall, Emily's eyes widened, terrified at what this might mean. Investigated? For what? Caleb echoed, his voice trembling, a mix of fear and disbelief washing over him. Derek swallowed hard, glancing at Lila for support. For the decisions I made, the deals I engaged in after I left. They haven't just impacted me, Caleb. They're affecting all of you, and I need you to trust me, trust us to get through this. A bitter laugh escaped Caleb's throat. Trust? After everything? Jake felt the air thicken again. How could they move past trust when it was stretched so thin? Would the weight of Derek's decisions crush them all? Caleb looked between his father and Jake, eyes wide with uncertainty. With every heartbeat, that loaded question pulsed beneath the surface. Would they come together to outlast this storm, or would it tear them apart forever? As the silence settled back in, they all knew they faced a crossroads, one that could reshape their family forever. But the real question loomed like a shadow. Would the truth they desperately sought bind them together or drive them further apart? The silence hung thick, a palpable curtain that obscured what could come next. Derek's heart raced, a steady drum echoing the uncertainty closing in around them. Only moments ago, he had hoped for understanding, yet now, standing before his son, he felt more exposed than ever. Caleb, please. Derek ventured again, his voice trembling at the edges. I know I hurt you. I know I abandoned you both. But I didn't think it would take this a threat to shake the ground beneath our feet to realize we need each other. I need you. Caleb's anger flared, but beneath it was a hurt that felt almost insurmountable. You just want me to help you fix your mess. He shouted, fists tightening. Why should I? You're the one who left us to pick up the pieces. Emily, stepping forward, tried a different approach. Listen, we all want to fix things. We all have scars from this. But we still have a chance to get through it together. A chance? Caleb shot back, eyes blazing. What chance is there when trust has been shattered into a million pieces? How can we heal from that? Derek created an awfully brave attempt to maintain his composure. We can start by being honest. Not just about what's at stake now, but also about all those years, all the hurt. I'm here, Caleb. I'm willing to own up to my mistakes. Just tell me how. Lila stood still, silent but observant. Her heart wavered between the urge to side with Caleb and the hope that maybe, just maybe, Derek would come through this for them. It's not just about saying the words, Derek. It's about actions. You need to show Caleb why he should trust you again. A flicker of desperation crossed Derek's face. I don't have time to prove my intentions. I need you to understand that whatever's coming is dangerous. I'm in deep, and if I don't get help from my family. Caleb interrupted, disbelief knotting his own resolve. You haven't been family in ages. Don't pretend that title still fits. Derek's jaw clenched, the frustration mingling with genuine sorrow. I know I have a long road ahead. I don't come expecting forgiveness. But if we work together we can figure this out. If I face this alone, it could ruin everything for you too. Caleb stood there, trapped somewhere between anger and cautious interest, a tempest brewing within. He clenched and unclenched his jaw, fighting against the flood of memories that threatened to overwhelm him. Nights spent waiting for his father to come home, days where laughter turned to echoes of silence. Jake, sensing the emotional turmoil brewing, stepped in. Caleb, your dad is scared. I don't think he's trying to manipulate you. Sometimes, admitting you're scared is the first step towards change. What if this time, instead of letting anger fuel the fire, we take a step back, see the bigger picture? You think it's easy? Caleb shot back, voice shaking with emotion. You think that just because he is scared, I should throw everything away and trust him again like it's a switch I can turn on? No, but perhaps there's a chance to rebuild, Jake replied earnestly. He turned to Derek, his voice low but steady. What if you told him everything, the truth about those deals and what you're facing? All of it, no secrets. The suggestion hung in the air, a fragile thread that could either tie the family together or unravel even further. Would Derek reveal it all and risk getting buried under the weight of every bad choice he made? Caleb's expression softened, just a fraction. And if I don't like what I hear? Derek inhaled deeply, the gravity of the moment weighing heavily on him. You might not. But at least you'd know where I stand. Caleb held Derek's gaze, feeling the pull of unresolved years. The choice hung like a heavy fog. Would he step forward into this uncertainty? As they stood there, poised on the edge of revelation, the door creaked open slowly behind them. A figure stepped in, the tension shifting ever so slightly. A new presence brought with it unexpected possibilities. What would this newcomer mean for the family standing at the precipice of change? The figure that stepped into the doorway was an older woman with wisdom etched into her wrinkles. Graceful yet firm, she made her way into the room like a gentle tide against a troubled shore. Her name was Clara, Jake's mother, who had come to visit unexpectedly, and her eyes danced between the chaos unfolding within the four walls of the room. Derek, let's take a breath, she suggested, her voice calm yet unwavering, filling the space with a sense of authority that could not be missed. Had she sensed the storm brewing all along? Clara had always been a few steps ahead. Jake felt a wave of relief wash over him. Clara had a way of seeing the truth in messy situations and unraveling the threads of tension with a few well-placed words. She turned to Caleb, her expression softening. It's tough when family is at odds, especially when history weighs so heavily. But maybe, just maybe, this is a turning point for all of you. Calm words from the mother of the man Derek abandoned, Caleb grumbled, his stance still fierce despite the gentle urge to soften. Clara's gaze didn't waver. That's true, but every story has the ability to change if you open your heart to it. You deserve to evolve beyond these hurts, but that begins with letting the past breathe, even if it scares you. In the dimly lit room, Derek's guarded expression began to crack. He looked almost pitiful, the weight of shame visible. I know I messed up badly as a husband, as a father, but I'm here now. I want to fight for us, for our family, he admitted, desperately seeking the warmth of understanding he was once blind to. From where I stand, it seems you want to fight for your future, not just to come back and fix something that's already broken, Clara said, her voice gentle but strong. Caleb's eyes narrowed, his body still tense. The past doesn't just disappear because you want a redo. You don't get a second chance at family without understanding what you took away in the first place. Derek swallowed, the reality of that conviction settling heavily. I agree, he confessed quietly. But I can't promise I'll be perfect, just willing to show you all that I can. Clara took a small step toward him, her face softened but earnest. Mistakes don't define you, Derek. It's how you choose to respond to them moving forward. Perhaps the beginning of trust isn't a grand gesture, maybe it's just the act of giving one another room to grow. A small flicker of something hope broke across Caleb's face, but he still held a guarded front. And what if you don't follow through? He questioned aloud, almost to himself. A different weight settled in the room, one filled with recognition. Then you'll make sure I own those failures, Caleb. That's the deal, Derek promised, his resolve strengthening. Jake leaned forward, feeling fragile connections tighten. We can take this one step at a time. Trust isn't built overnight. You both deserve to feel safe in this family. Emily, who had been standing quietly at the back, finally stepped toward the center of the room as if pulled by an unseen force. She locked eyes with Derek and spoke, her voice steady. "You've shattered us all with your choices, but let us not pull each other apart now. I thought moving on would mean leaving all of this behind, but maybe it's about learning to accept all the parts of it, the good, the bad, and the messy." Derek nodded, the shift between them tangible. There was uncertainty, but within the tension, there remained a hint of possibility. Jake glanced at Clara, who smiled softly, proud of this moment. This is how healing begins, isn't it? With truth, with forgiveness, and with a collective heartbeat. The room felt electric, a mix of fear and hope simmering together. They were bound together by shared pain but were now wrestling with the possibility of redemption. Every gaze turned toward Caleb, waiting. The silence held like a shared secret waiting to be unleashed. His jaw clenched, then slowly relaxed. "Okay. But no more running, Derek. If we're going to start anew, we need to face every single piece of this with honesty. No excuses." Derek's heart surged at Caleb's declaration, sincerity spilling out. "You're right. I promise I'll share everything I've held back. You all deserve nothing less." With that, Jake felt the heavy tension crack just a little, breaking way for something new. They were still standing on fragile ground, but the air shifted. Together, they could build a sturdy foundation, one made of honesty, vulnerability, and compassion. The future loomed vast before them, unpredictable yet full of promise. Still, Jake knew one thing for certain: they would navigate it together, all hands on deck. And if they all tried, simply tried, things could change. As he glanced around the room, Jake finally felt lighter. "Let us make a promise here together. No more shadows, only light from now on." Eyes turned toward one another, and in that simple acknowledgement of connection, hope began to weave its way into every heart. The door swung open to a new dawn, leaving behind the past, just a little lighter, just a little more free. And now, this transformative journey was just beginning. Subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Seriously, it makes a difference. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. You need to subscribe now. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait not even one more second to share. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these actions.